Hey, welcome back, everybody. First off, I just want to give a big thank you to everyone who left all that love and support. It was not expected in the least bit, and I was super happy to read through all that stuff, especially the negative critiques, man. I mean, that stuff's always good in my eyes. I could always learn more. And like I said, I'm not a carpenter by any means. This was my first attempt at anything crazy like this, and to be honest, it's well surpassed my expectations, and I couldn't be happier with it. So with that said, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an update on what I've accomplished on it so far and what it's been through, and answer all the questions that I've seen in the comments below. Also, I'm going to be posting links at the very end of the video. You guys can follow everything that I've used inside this camper shell as well. So without further ado, I'd like to explain the design. This thing is definitely robust, and that was for a reason. I wanted to have some trust in this thing while camping and driving. So I was looking for something that was sturdy, that gave like this sense of protection along with adequate headspace. And keeping all that in mind, I also needed something that was aerodynamic. And thanks to the help of my buddy, I found a design for that. I'd also like to add that I was looking for, the feeling of a cabin, not so much a twig house. I didn't want anything that was like a monstrosity while driving, and yet I wanted something that was somewhat spacious inside that could fit a couple people. So this thing literally pales in comparison to a lot of the loads I've carried around, and I think I found that happy medium. The dimensions going vertically are 24 inches in the front, 36 in the center, and 35 in the rear. So there is a slight downward slope towards the rear where I have these drain holes drilled, so that water does not accumulate. The sheet metal roof is wrapped over the edges where I have it screwed down, backed up by silicone and a sealant. I've taken this thing through a car wash by accident, also in a couple storms, and I hose it down occasionally. So it does pretty well up against water. I don't see much snow here in Southern California. And I do know that water seepage will occur at some point. That's just kind of inevitable in my opinion. And that is why I sealed the framing, just to try and prevent any sort of warping. And while on the topic of sealing and weatherproofing, I do really appreciate the recommendations you guys have left in the comments. Some great tips and ideas there, so I will be looking more into that. Another recent addition would be the curtains. Thanks to the help of my sister, I had them cut and sewn to length. I also added little eyelets and hooks to hold the curtains in place. I also fabricated the bars you see at the tops of the windows. The one downside to my curtains right now, unfortunately, is I don't have a means of removing them and installing them. So my method of washing is a little limited, but I'm able to get by and make do for the time being. Now the lighting might seem a little meager to some, especially in this shot, but it actually does a great job at night. It's a nice dim, it's very quaint, and my girlfriend thinks it's pretty romantic, so couldn't be happier with that. The windows, someone mentioned in the comments, were possibly mounted backwards, and that may be the case. However, when I go to sit up in bed, it just seemed to make more sense to have the screen towards the front of the shell. It makes it a little more aesthetically pleasing to look out that rear window, or the rear portion of that window. And as of now, I'm sure you guys are noticing the carpet. That is something that I plan on addressing in a future video, detailing the bed setup and my drawers. So please stay tuned for more details on that. However, without that bed or the carpet down, I can fit a mini dirt bike in here. And with the bed in it, I've sat 3 people in here comfortably with the door shut during a storm. So that should just go to say about the size of my shell. Now this latch is something that I found at Home Depot. I'm sure you could find it elsewhere. But it's something to give us a little peace of mind while sleeping. Kind of prevents people from opening it from the outside. With that said, if you do something similar to this, make sure that it doesn't latch itself easily. Just to kind of prevent any accidents while driving down the road, it doesn't lock you out. The gas struts were found on Amazon, and I will post a link to that. However, they are mounted at an angle so that it requires a little bit of force to open my door. That just kind of prevents it from opening easily, say if I didn't properly latch something while driving. But also, as the door is opening itself, I do get that cool factor of it kind of swinging open nice and gently. I'm I'm using a total of 6 L brackets that I've fabricated myself. They hold the shell down really well. I've actually even drifted my truck with the shell on it, and it hasn't budged a single bit. So with that said, the pieces are made out of aluminum, just hollow and solid stock. This L bracket right here, I actually cut out of hollow stock, 4x3 I believe. But you can find a number of ways to manipulate materials to make work. I'm using the stock rail system that came on my truck and bolting it down as so. I recommend Home Depot. There's a place called Metric Specialties or Industrial Metal Supply that are out near me, which supply a number of metals. The reasoning behind that aluminum stock being shorter than the L bracket itself is so that when I do tighten down the hardware, it has a little bit of squish, allowing the clamp to tighten down even more on the shell itself. Another recent addition would be the weather stripping I used on the bottom of the shell. It's doing a great job of keeping the water from seeping into my bed. It was found at Home Depot. At first I was looking at like a door or like a garage seal like I've seen in the comments, and I'm sure those would work fine, but I wanted something a little more low profile that wouldn't snag. I've used it a few times now, and so far it's holding up just fine, but I will keep you guys updated if I do see any defects on it. We've also added another coat of lacquer at the start of a new season just to prolong the integrity of the wood. And when looking at the cost of everything, I'm at about $1,600 for the lumber, including the little miscellaneous parts. That's not including the windows, which are around $240, the lift anywhere from $400 to $600, and just the $20 struts. Anyway, you're gonna want to save probably about $2,000 to $2,500. Please stay tuned for the later installments to my series. I'm going to be showing you guys some cool stuff about how I'm setting up my bed and the drawers, along with how I store and install my camper shell. And then I'll be giving you guys a little insight onto the places I've been going and how I'm using this thing. So yeah, thanks again for watching. If you are interested, please hit the like and subscribe button. It means a lot to me. And again, best of luck to you guys. Take care.